Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. CR Daredevil bringing you another episode in our WCW series here in TEW 2020. It is the go-home show for the Great American Bash. Of course, we have some major matches happening at that show, including the WCW World's Heavyweight Championship on the line, Sting defending against Bam Bam Bigelow. We have Lex Luger and Vader set to go one-on-one. We have a bunch of other matches, including the huge one from that's been building up for the last couple months now, featuring Steve Austin going one-on-one with Paul Levesque, and so much more happening. Last week on Nitro, in case you missed it, you better go back and watch it, we witnessed Steve Austin be kidnapped by Paul Levesque and his group of people, only to find out that the man who let Levesque and DiBiase and his other allies enter the WCW world was none other than the man formerly known as Mr. JL. We still don't know who this guy is quite yet, but we need to see what's going to happen on tonight's show. In front of 7,996 people in the Conti Forum, we need to find out what is happening on tonight's show 6 days before the Great American Bash. We start things off with a segment that apparently shows that Steve Austin is still kidnapped at this point. He's still shown in the same chair he was seen in last, and appears to be kind of coming to at this moment. He looks around and notices the unmasked man, formerly known as Mr. JL, staring at him. Obviously on the screen you can tell who it is, but this segment doesn't really reveal who his name is yet, so he's still technically unnamed. Austin immediately looks annoyed and tries to get up from the chair, only to fail to do so. He shouts at this man, asking why he did what he did, but he gets no response. Austin tries a couple more times, but every single time he gets no response. Finally, the fifth time comes, and this time this man does not speak, but the voice of Ted DiBiase comes in when DiBiase says he won't talk to you. DiBiase walks into view, looking at the man formerly known as Mr. JL before looking back at Steve Austin. Ted DiBiase mentions that this man has nothing to say to Steve Austin. He mentions that Austin shouldn't expect any words from him either. He has nothing to say, but he shouldn't expect anything to be said, nor should anybody in WCW expect anything to be said from this man. DiBiase simply then mentions, after all, revenge isn't earned with words. Without explaining what that means, DiBiase motions with his hand, and the man gets up and follows DiBiase out of the main area of the warehouse as Austin is left alone once again. 99 rated segment. Thanks to DiBiase and Austin doing well without a script. Steve Austin still apparently kidnapped by this group, and now we know that Mr. JL, or the man formerly knows Mr. JL, is apparently out for some sort of revenge, but that he's not going to speak at all. He has nothing to say. But he is out for some sort of revenge, so no idea what the heck that's supposed to mean, but I guess we will have to find out in due time what that means. After that, we go actually to the arena now, where we see Roddy Piper backstage in his office. The Blue Bloods enter. Lord Steven Regal or Robert Dean, they enter the office. Piper greets him, says thanks for coming to see me. And Regal says, why did you want to see us? Why did you call us in here? Piper says he wants to give them an opportunity. Regal asks if it's a title shot, and Piper says, well, no, it's not a title shot. It's an opportunity. You guys had a chance to earn a tag team title shot recently, and you couldn't get the job done. But this is an opportunity. He says he's seen the Blue Bloods begin to lose their edge over the last many months. They can't seem to quite get it done in the ring anymore when it comes to tag team matches, due to miscommunication, whatever. So he's giving them that chance to find their edge again, to find their opportunity to, or their abilities to get back to the tag team title picture, or to the tag team championships like they've held in the past. So they're going to find it this Sunday. This Sunday they have a tag team matchup at the Great American Bash. Regal asks who they're facing, and Piper says that all they need to know is that it's a team they've never fought before. So let's get to 74. Not too bad. Eaton underperformed. He was rated on charisma in this. I guess it is what it is, but I'm still not going to complain about that rating. Good stuff there, as now the Blue Bloods have a match against a mystery tag team this coming Sunday at Great American Bash. After that, we get a matchup that got a poor rating, is what it is though, as Dan Severn makes his in-ring WCW debut, defeating Shane Helms in 558 by submission, that is, with a Beast Choker. Makes him submit. The Beast Choker, I believe, was the guillotine choke. So he gets Shane Helms to submit. Shane Helms, of course, this is his WCW debut. This is before Sugar Shane Helms and all that other stuff. This is just simply random Shane Helms brought in from nowhere that's apparently working here in WCW now. Brought him in on a handshake deal, I believe, just to, kind of test the waters. But anyway, Dan Severn looking pretty decent in his debut, in his in-ring debut, that is, getting a 58 in-ring performance. Not great, but to be fair, he has not much of anything for popularity right now. So, in fact, he was set to recognizable at this point. So, might have to build him up a little bit if I'm going to do anything really serious with him. But still, I'll take a 53. That's not too bad, honestly. Not too bad at all. After that, Roddy Piper is seen back in his office once again. This time, though, Harlem Heat walk into the office. Booker T asks Piper once again about their tag title shot, wanting confirmation that no one will get the shot before them. And Piper says, yeah, that's how that works. You guys, when the next tag team title match happens, you guys will be the ones challenging for the titles. And Booker says, well, that's all great and all, but we don't want to wait. We don't want to wait for that eventual time when that title match happens. We don't want to wait for weeks from now. We don't want to wait for months from now. We want the tag team champions here tonight. Piper's a little bit hesitant about it. He's like, well, Bigelow's in a title match this Sunday. He's in the world title match this Sunday. I, don't want to see anything happen. When Booker then questions where the hell Roddy Piper is. He says that Piper is supposed to be willing to throw things out the window and put balls to the wall. Well, he didn't say balls to the wall, but he was willing to suddenly punch the gas pedal when nobody else expects it, and change all the questions when all the answers, when you think you have all the answers, and all this stuff. Kind of questioning Piper a little bit. Piper takes a little bit of offense to this and says, fine. You guys want that match? You've got it. Here tonight, Harlem Heat challenging for the WCW World Tag Team Championships against Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader. So, huge matchup made tonight. Not only do we have that big main event match happening tonight with Chris Benoit and Ric Flair teaming up against Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko, but now we have a big-time title match happening where the WCW World Tag Team titles will be on the line with Harlem Heat challenging Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader. So that should be a very interesting matchup here tonight as well. 77, pretty good stuff there. After that, we get another quick video featuring the Outlaws, talking about them taking care of the tag teams here in WCW one by one until they get the gold. Talking about looking for the opportunities and hoping to see everyone sometime soon. So basically, a little promo there, just a way to kind of say, hey, we're still here. Not that I've completely given up on any sort of push for them. I don't have anything for them at the moment. So there's this. Also, I needed to fill a few minutes time in the show anyway, so there is that as well. After that, we have a decent matchup featuring Big Bubba Rogers defeating Scotty Riggs in 5:57 by pinfall with a Bubba Slam. 65 rating for the match. That's not bad for a Big Bubba Rogers match at this point in time. 59 from Rogers, 43 from Riggs. Lost heat for the storyline, but it is what it is, as Dustin Rhodes was being talked about. You know, the whole feud was being talked about heavily throughout the match. It's set that this Sunday they are going to be colliding in a strap match, which will kind of get explained with the next segment. But the Big Bubba Rogers and Dustin Rhodes will be going at it in a strap match this coming Sunday at the Great American Bash. Dustin Rhodes has a gimmick that's getting stale. I'll have to remember that. But Dustin Rhodes hits the ring after the match and whips Rogers with the strap that he has in his hands. Commentators kind of go over this being revenge for what happened on Saturday night recently. A couple weeks ago, Big Bubba Rogers came and interfered in a matchup featuring Dustin Rhodes and whipped him with the strap, and said that he was going to whip him like his daddy never did, kind of continuing the getting Dusty involved in that whole thing. So then this past Saturday night, a promo was done where Dusty said that if Rogers was threatening to whip Dustin, that Dustin needed to be prepared to be taking the country whipping to Big Bubba Rogers. So it kind of led to a strap match being made between the two men for Great American Bash. Rogers quickly heads to the back, holding his back as Rhodes stands there, a focused look on his face. So just kind of final selling point to try to sell that matchup that is happening at the Bash. After this, we get a couple quick promos. Crap, I put the wrong Paul in there. I typed in Paul, and apparently I decided to put Paul Levesque instead of Paul Orndorff. My bad. It's not supposed to be Paul Levesque. Clearly, I am 100% professional. Not doing this recording through any sort of pain whatsoever right now. So, what's supposed to happen here is Barry Windham cuts a quick promo talking about facing Paul Orndorff this Sunday, and saying that whether he kind of talks about how he's going to defeat Paul Orndorff this Sunday, and then kind of brings up the idea that whether it's teaming up with Kendall or doing it on his own, he's kind of feeling like he has one more championship run at him. So kind of hints at the possibility of trying to get a championship sometime in the near future. Orndorff then has a follow-up promo, despite the fact that it shows Paul Levesque. Paul Orndorff has a quick follow-up promo saying that he's too wonderful for someone like Barry Windham to defeat him, and when he wins this Sunday, WCW will begin to learn just how great Simply Wonderful truly is. This really was just a couple of it was a quick minute and a half promo from each man that just kind of hyping up the matchup this Sunday without spending too much TV time on it. So despite the fact that I put the wrong person there, which means I didn't advance the storyline, kind of hypes up the fact that the two men are going to be going at it this Sunday at Great American Bash. After that, we get nothing. You guys get nothing. There we go. After that, defense number 10 of the World Television Championship, as my God, this got a high rating. This got a 77 rating as Meng defeats Rick Martel in 6:29 by submission. Meng defense number 10 of the Television Championship. Rick Martel was somebody who got brought in recently to WCW because I kind of went looking around, realized I needed a few more lower card faces, and also realized that Rick Martel actually could still go pretty decently in the ring. As you can see by that 66 in-ring performance, that's not terrible. Compared to some of the other guys on the roster right now, that's actually better than a lot of them. So that's not a bad idea. So Rick Martel is here in WCW. He's a face. Essentially, think his character that he was in WCW before he got hurt when they brought him in during the Monday Night Wars. He was that kind of baby face, I'm a legend, I'm a recognizable name from the past kind of person who had those pretty good matches with Booker T over the TV title before he got hurt and ended up having to retire. So that's kind of essentially what happens here, what his character is here. But he tries to win the television championship for Meng, and does manage the last 6.5 minutes, which is a lot longer than a lot of people have against Meng, but unfortunately, he does submit to, or he does kind of pass out to the Tongan death grip from Meng. Meng makes defense number 10 of the TEW title. 77 rated matchup. Good stuff there. May have to, that in-ring performance for Rick Martel kind of helped surprise me a little bit there, so I may have to reconsider a few future things there. After that, we get a quick promo from Diamond Dallas Page saying that that him and Brian Clark proved that Ron Simmons could not stop them, referring to the handicap match that Page and Clark were able to steal from Ron Simmons recently on Nitro, and that Ron Simmons will never be able to stop these two men. But he says that next time that Simmons wants to go after him, Page is way too big of a star to waste his time with Simmons ever again. He's way too big of a star. He's the future. He's the one who defeated Simmons before 101, and now he's defeated him in a handicap match. He has no interest in taking on Simmons anytime soon. So if Ron Simmons still wants a piece of Diamond Dallas Page at all in the future, he's going to have to go through Brian Clark first. So 99 rated promo. My God, I need to get Page on the mic more often. Nevertheless, Page with a strong strong promo here. There's no match set up between Brian Clark and Ron Simmons this Sunday. The match card is already kind of full at this point. I didn't want to add that to it, but this is going to be kind of continuing to be an ongoing storyline as the summer goes on. After that, we get something. Gabe's been a little slow today, apparently. After that, we get Steve Austin seen once again in the warehouse. This time, though, a dragging sound is heard almost immediately after Steve Austin is shown. Austin looks around a little bit, trying to figure out what's happening. After a few moments, one of the masked figures appears, followed by Paul Levesque, who's dragging a chair behind him, purposely dragging it slowly just to get the noise to irritate Austin at this point, before he is followed up by the other masked figure. Levesque sets the chair down and sits on it as the figures go to either side of Levesque. Levesque says that he's watched Austin's career here in WCW. He's seen the success he's had. Tag team champion, United States champion. He's had lots of great matches, lots of great moments. He's had a lot of success here. But yet, he had the opportunity. He finally had the opportunity to win the big one, to win the World Heavyweight Championship, and he couldn't get the job done against Sting. Levesque says, why is that? Why couldn't Steve Austin beat Sting? Why couldn't Steve Austin, who is the future of professional wrestling, who is the future of WCW, who is being heralded as the greatest wrestler in WCW's future, the man who will take WCW to the next era of professional wrestling, why couldn't he become the world champion? Paul Levesque has that answer. It's because Austin couldn't pull the trigger. Austin cared more about respect in that matchup than pulling the trigger. He had his opportunities where he had Sting right where he wanted him, but couldn't pull the trigger. And it wasn't because Austin was afraid. It was because he just cared more about respect than pulling that trigger. He wasn't willing to do the cheap thing. He wasn't willing to do the underhanded thing, the thing to get the advantage. He let Sting get back to his feet instead of taking advantage when Sting was down on the canvas. Paul Levesque, though, he can pull the trigger. He doesn't give a damn about respect. He only cares about power. The rest of his group has other goals in mind, has other things in mind that they care about. But Paul Levesque only cares about power. That power that he and his force will take from WCW, no matter the blood needed to be spilled. 92 rated segment. Let's go. These segments are just knocking it out of the park time and time again. As Paul Levesque with some strong words there, kind of calling out Steve Austin for not being able to get the job done against Sting, and saying that once he gets going here, WCW is gonna have no problem spilling whoever's blood needs to be spilled in order to get that power that he wants, that he desires. We'll have to see what that means. After that, we get a quick matchup featuring the Giant just absolutely squashing the hell out of Scott Armstrong. I forgot that Jesse James Armstrong was managing Scott Armstrong. Whatever. Giant squashes him, doesn't even use a chokeslam to finish off the match. He uses a big boot to win the match. Gets a 62 rating. Giant with an 83. Scott Armstrong with a 37. Yeah, just a squash match. In fact, the only reason the match went this long is because Giant was kind of toying with him the entire time. After the match is where things get important, though. Because after the match, again, this is pretending that Jesse James wasn't at ringside because I didn't realize that. After the match, Giant goes to chokeslam Scott Armstrong once again. The idea being that he chokeslammed him earlier in the match, was going for the 3 count, but decided to pick up Scott before the 3 count was made, before continuing on with a little bit more offense. So he's going to try to chokeslam Scott once again, but this time Steve Armstrong, his brother, comes running down to try to save him. However, Steve immediately gets chokeslammed as well because of this. Brad Armstrong then comes running out to try to help out, only to suffer the same fate. So then, at this point, obviously, if we get 3 of the brothers out here, we gotta get the 4th one. So Jesse James Armstrong comes running out from the back, but before he can get to the ring, he gets blindsided from the side by VK Wall Street, who decides to start just punching away at him at this point, as those 2 men are eventually destined to have a one-on-one matchup with each other. Might be a pre-show matchup for the pay-per-view. It's not going to be on the main card, that's for sure. Nevertheless, Giant at this point just kind of shrugs, whatever, before he decides to go in for another chokeslam on Scott, only gets struck from behind with a steel chair, courtesy of Rikishi Fatu, the man who he attacked a few weeks ago and left a unconscious mess on the floor backstage. Fatu then swings the chair and connects with another shot as the Giant is starting to stagger slightly. Like, he's not really like staggering, but it's like he's showing a little bit of unsteadiness. Giant turns around this time, looking kind of pissed off over, only to get struck in the head once again with his steel chair. Rikishi Fatu then goes for another shot, but this time Giant just is having none of this and just punches this chair straight out of Fatu's hands, sending the chair flying to the mat. Well, it actually hits so hard that it hits off the ropes and crashes to the mat. As Fatu notices this, however, he gets distracted by turning back to look at the chair, turns back around, only to get his head grabbed by the Giant, and Giant goes for a huge headbutt, as Giant typically does, but is not prepared for the fact that Rikishi Fatu basically no-sells the move, because, of course, he's Samoan, and Samoans have incredibly strong heads. So Giant actually is the one who gets staggered by this attempted headbutt a little bit. He kind of staggers slightly. Giant doesn't like this at all and goes for another headbutt, but gets staggered once again, kind of stumbling a little bit, and this time ends up dropping his hands from Fatu's head. So Fatu then grabs Giant's head and connects with a huge headbutt, staggering the Giant once again this time. Kind of sends him stumbling backwards a few steps, and during that process of Giant trying to stay on his feet, Fatu grabs the steel chair, goes off the ropes, striking the Giant once again, this time sending Giant out of the ring. He does land on his feet on the outside, but he is sent to the outside. He is absolutely enraged, trying to get back in the ring, but security, just a ton of security, comes running down to the ring, all trying to stop the Giant from getting back in the ring. As Rikishi Fatu celebrates, Giant clearly not happy about the fact that he just basically just got shown, or just basically showed that much weakness, so to speak, by not only not being able to take down Rikishi Fatu with those headbutts, but actually being knocked out of the ring by Rikishi Fatu. So huge moment there, as Rikishi Fatu is able to celebrate, getting a bit of revenge for the attack that happened. I want to do this really quick just to see. I don't mean to cut off right in the middle of that. Okay. I had to double check and see. So, no match is announced for this Sunday between the two men. I wanted to make sure I didn't have one announced beforehand. But you got to imagine that the Giant is not going to be happy, and I don't think he's going to want to wait till Monday night, even if it is only one day longer. I don't think he's going to want to wait till Monday night to get some revenge on Fatu. So if I was Rikishi Fatu, I would be making sure I was staying clear of any arena this Sunday at the Great American Bash, because Giant is going to be absolutely livid about what's happened. After that, I got a poor rating. That sucks. A video begins playing showing another new signing to WCW, none other than Dr. Death Steve Williams. Dr. Death Steve Williams is being brought in. I know we're not yelling out, fuck Dr. Death, whatever, as the meme is. But yeah, Dr. Death Steve Williams is here in WCW. We'll have to see what he ends up doing. I have some plans for him heading forward. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But he is also here in WCW as well, even if he got a poor rating for his badass gimmick. After that, we get our tag team title matchup, which gets a 75 rating. And it features Harlem Heat defeating Vader and Bam Bam Bigelow, but it is by disqualification, thanks to Lex Luger running in and attacking Vader to give the disqualification victory, which actually the disqualification victory should be for Vader and Bam Bam. So I don't know why that happened there. Oh, sorry, no. Derp. Brain fart there for a second. Again, I'm on some pain meds right now, just trying to record this, and I'm not fully thinking. Lex Luger ran in and attacked Vader when the referee was distracted. Vader got absolutely pissed about this happening and just lost his mind and went nuts on Booker T. Referee tried to get Vader to stop. He refused to, and Vader got disqualified when this happened. Bam Bam Bigelow, head and shoulders above everybody else with a 90 in-ring performance. Huge in-ring performance there. Booker T, Stevie Ray, not really that great of performances, but it is what it is. Nevertheless, Harlem Heat get the victory by disqualification after Vader, in an absolute rage after being attacked by Lex Luger, goes absolutely berserk on Booker T and gets disqualified. After that match, Harlem Heat and Lex Luger do manage to work together to actually chase off the tag team champions, sending Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader to the outside. But before they're able to celebrate, Booker T pushes Lex Luger. Luger gets in Booker's face, and Booker's head yelling out, asking what the hell that was, since everybody kind of saw that Vader got, the Vader got hit by Luger, and it caused Vader to absolutely lose his mind and get disqualified. Sting manages to make it out to the ring, and tries to separate Luger and Booker T, but Stevie gets in Sting's face about this as well, yelling that he needs to keep his boy under check. Heard very loud and clear about this. Sting is trying to calm everybody down at this point, trying to keep them all on the same page. They're all on the same page. They're all trying to take care of Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader. But Harlem Heat, not wanting to hear a damn thing that Sting has to say, throwing their hands up and leaving the ring, clearly frustrated by the final result of that matchup. Sting trying to talk to Luger in the ring. Can't really pick up what he says, but Luger seems a little frustrated, as does Sting, as Harlem Heat walk away in frustration. Meanwhile, Percy Pringle, who escaped to the top of the stage at this point, is just watching all this and laughing about everything happening in the ring. So, to sum it all up, Luger, in a way, cost Harlem Heat the tag team titles, causing Vader to get pissed off enough to go on a rage and get disqualified because of it. And Harlem Heat was not having that. Harlem Heat was not happy about the fact that Luger did that. And now there's tension between Harlem Heat and Lex Luger and Sting. So we'll have to see what that leads to. But at the end of the day, that does mean that Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader are kind of getting a little bit of an advantage at this point, as they didn't win the matchup, but they're still the tag team champions. And Percy, Bigelow gets to sit back as Luger and Sting having some issues with each other. Teasing the potential idea that Luger might not be there at ringside this Sunday when Sting has to go defend the World's Heavyweight Championship against Bam Bam Bigelow. So could be some interesting potential things happening this Sunday. After that, we get Randy Savage standing by backstage with Gene Okerlund. Randy Savage struggling when going off script. That's absolutely BS, but whatever. Okerlund asked Savage about the comments made by Cactus Jack last week, and Savage says that he knew that Cactus was crazy, but he didn't know he was this crazy. Randy Savage is still the same he's always been. He's still Macho Man Randy Savage. He's still the same man he's always been this entire time. Nothing's changed, even after Savage had to deal with the Giant. So Cactus Jack is just absolutely talking crazy. Doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Randy Savage is still Randy Savage. Gene Okerlund then asks, well, if that's the case, then what's been with the recent attacks by you? Why have you recently attacked people after the matches? Randy Savage's demeanor seems to change with this comment. Seems to not take that to, or does not seem to like that being said at all. And looks like he's actually going to attack Mean Gene himself until Cactus Jack comes into view, standing in front of Mean Gene, preventing anything from happening to Okerlund. Savage yells at Cactus and pushes him, but Cactus, not having any of this, pushes back, and a big old brawl breaks out backstage as Okerlund is yelling for security to come help out. The brawl continues between these two men until security breaks it up, with both men still trying to pry themselves free to get at each other. Roddy Piper then shows up, yelling out that he's had enough of these two fighting, and he says that he doesn't care what either man wants at this point. He doesn't care what he has to do at this point. He's booking Cactus Jack versus Randy Savage this Sunday at the Great American Bash. Savage looks upset about this happening because he was kind of going back and forth as to whether he wanted a matchup with Cactus Jack at this point or not, but he seemed like he didn't really want a matchup against him. So he storms off as the cameras focus on Cactus before going back to ringside. So we get the matchup featuring Cactus Jack versus Randy Savage happening this Sunday, which, kind of seemed like it was already going to happen. It was kind of unofficially announced, but this is kind of the official, this is happening kind of moment here. So this should be one hell of a matchup happening at the Great American Bash as well, on top of that really high quality card so far. We go to ringside for the main event of the evening. And in an 89 rated match, my freaking God, an 89 rated matchup, Eddie Guerrero, the number one contender for the United States Championship, and Dean Malenko defeat Chris Benoit and Ric Flair in 1915 when Eddie Guerrero pins Chris Benoit with a roll-up. After a great back-and-forth matchup featuring these four men, Eddie Guerrero able to get the victory with a roll-up to an 89 rating. Brian Pillman was at ringside, but did not actually get involved in the finish at all. He sat there and did not get involved in the finish at all. 92 from Ric Flair, 90 from Eddie Guerrero, 76 from Benoit, 73 from Malenko, as a very, very, very great main event happens on consecutive Nitros like this. Huge main event between these two men. Or these four men, that is, sorry. These two teams is what I meant to say. After the match, the three members of the Horsemen attack Guerrero and Malenko. Brian Pillman does get in the ring at this point to help attack Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko. When surprisingly out of nowhere, Sting comes running down from the back to make the save, helping Guerrero and Malenko fight off the Horsemen. Of course, Sting, despite having his own issues with Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader right now. He obviously always has issues with the Horsemen, and he comes out to help Eddie and Dean Malenko. Of course, he's the face of WCW right now, so of course he's going to come out to help somebody out. And like I mentioned, he's not on good terms with the Horsemen ever, so he comes out to help Eddie and Dean in this case. The faces stand tall in the ring with Guerrero and Pillman jawing back and forth at each other until it's shown that Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader have decided to appear out from the back as well, with Bigelow staring a hole through Sting. At this point, Lex Luger nowhere to be seen. As Bigelow stares a hole through Sting, who raises the championship up in the air, as Nitro seems to come to an end here. It starts to fade to black, when all of a sudden we hear Tony Schiavone saying, wait, we can't go yet. We have something going on in the back. So it started to fade off to black before it suddenly goes to the back, or in this case, to the parking lot, as a limo comes speeding into view. The limo comes speeding into view, comes to a quick stop in the parking lot, and the door gets opened up. Steve Austin is then thrown out of the limo. He is bloodied at this point. He is unconscious on the concrete. His arms are still taped up behind him. His face is just a bloody mess at this point. He looks like he has just been absolutely beaten the hell out of. Security officials come running over, but before they can get to the limo quickly leaves the scene. However, the camera that's showing this whole thing notices a note that is pinned to Steve Austin's chest, taped. It's fastened to Steve Austin's chest somehow, which the camera focuses on as Nitro then truly fades off to black, with the note reading, "This Sunday begins the death of World Championship Wrestling and the birth of the New World Order." A 91 rating for this go-home show here tonight. And as you saw, this Sunday apparently marks the death of WCW and the birth of the New World Order. Yeah. So you probably figured out that Paul Levesque and his group just happened to be coming in at an interesting time that just happened to be pretty similar to real life time. This is going to be the What If World's this universe's version of the New World Order. It's not going to be quite like the real life one. A lot of changes are going to be made between the one that happened in real life or the one, at least technically the one happened in this universe, and the one that happens in this TEW 2020 What If series universe. But regardless of that changing, regardless of members being different, the name remains the same. It is the New World Order coming to WCW. I'm excited to book it the way I'm going to be booking it. We still have two figures that we don't know who it is either as well. But I will tell you right now that I have a few plans in mind for the group heading forward, but one guaranteed set in stone plan is that the group will not, under any circumstances, have 20 billion people as a part of the group. I'm going to keep it smaller. I can't say that the people you've seen on screen so far are going to be the only people who are going to join it. There are potential plans of a slight change in their numbers as time goes on, but it will never grow to 1 billion people and all these splinter factions and all this stuff. I have the way I want to book the NWO And I hope you guys are going to really like it, because I know I'm going to really like it. Nevertheless, on the screen, as you see, 91 rating for Nitro, 4.2 million viewers. Raw with 2.2 million viewers. We are pulling away when it comes to viewers for WCW versus WWF, as Raw only had a 73 and was main evented by Diesel and The Undertaker defeating Psycho Sid and Warrior to a 93 rating, which is a really hot main event, but then everything else was 60s and 50s, so not great from them. Not a great show. Way too much focus on that main event versus anything else. So yeah, that's what's happening in this world. So this coming Sunday, we are going to have the Great American Bash. And, well, we might just see the official debut of the New World Order. That's going to be absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy indeed. Thank you for watching. Definitely appreciate it. I hope you guys tune in this coming Sunday for the Great American Bash. World title on the line, Sting and Bam Bam Bigelow. Lex Luger and Vader going one-on-one. Steve Austin and Paul Levesque going one-on-one. A strap match. And so much more. So much more happening on the show. The U.S. title matchup, which was headlining the end of the show until that segment happened to end it all. But of course, Eddie Guerrero and Brian Pillman in a rematch for the United States Championship, and a whole lot more that's unannounced right now. Thank you for watching, though. Definitely appreciate it, and we will catch you guys next time.